Okay, great. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to talk about obviously human design, and we're going to go deeper into your chart. And most importantly, also really explore what does that mean for you? Because often, people get a chart reading done and then it's just information. So
Yeah.
the most
What do I
important
do?
thing about it is actually what do I do with that information right now? Okay, so this is what we're going to explore today. So I'm going to share your chart here. And I'm actually going to start from the basics of human design. So I'm not going to go too deep into it, but just to give you a little bit of introduction. Basically, human design was downloaded. It was literally downloaded. It was a lot of like information that was given to this man called Rahu, where for 8 days and nights he sat there, and he is like the voice, he calls it the voice, was speaking to him. He was writing down the origins really of our universe, the whole thing about the cosmology, about the galaxies, etc., etc. And a lot of the information he received was really like scientific, something that even back then wasn't proven by science, and only many years later that actually surfaced up as a true fact. So a lot of it is actually scientifically, in terms of quantum physics, not traditional science, is backed up. So that's why I love it so much, because it's not like something spiritual or religious that requires you to believe in it, but it's a practical tool that gives you the map, that gives you your blueprints of your life. It basically shows you the highest expression of yourself that you can be if you live in alignment with who you truly are. And we are all capable of it. It's not like one chart is worse than the other. Some people have maybe more challenges, more conundrums, like one of my coaches calls it, but everyone can literally live out the highest expression of themselves. So human design, it's like a blend of different systems such as Kabbalah and I Ching and Chinese I Ching, Kabbalah, astrology, and also quantum physics. And based on your date, time, and place of birth, as I mentioned, it generates this blueprint of your story of your life, really. The most important thing really about human design, why it's so important, I believe, to have it in our lives, is that the whole process of deconditioning. Because as humans over the lifetimes, we get so conditioned, from our parents, from society, from also the up to 14 generations, this patterns that we've actually inherited. It's in our DNAs, in our cells, and it's been proven to carry that trauma or any beliefs really up to 14 generations. And of course, everything we've come to believe about ourselves over the years, how we were brought up to believe, how we were told to do things in order to be valuable, what the stories we've been telling about ourselves, all of the patterns that we have accumulated over the years. And human design helps you in a very practical, pragmatic way to really work through it. So when you look at this chart, I'm just going to run over the general charts. When you look at this, first of all, you see your body graph, and you also see 9 energy centers. Those energy centers, they correlate loosely to the 7 chakra centers. And all of the colored ones, doesn't really matter what color they are, just important to know that if you have a color, it means it's a defined center. This is how you express, this is how you send energy out. This is your constant energy. So this is where you've got your strength, you've got your consistency in there. The white areas, the open areas, this is the undefined centers, and this is how you get energy from the people around you, and also from the planet in transit, from environment, depending really where you are. So in human design, really, there is kind of, I guess, concept of human design where when it comes to conditioning is that your openness carries the most conditioning, because not only you absorb energy from the others, but you also amplify them. So for example, if you've got an open will center, which is all about their self-worth, how valuable you are, and you're with someone else who's like doubting their self-worth, or they're egocentric, you pick up their emotions and you actually amplify it. So you can completely be in the paralyzed, like this willpower, I'm not worthy at all, depending on how they feel. But if it's colored in, you most probably not going to pick it up. You kind of stand there, you find you more confident, you're more expressive in yourself, you know who you are. But as anything really, all of this even defined centers, they can be the highest expression or the lowest expression of the energy. So for example, when I look at your head, in the highest expression, the head, we use our head for inspiration, for creativity, to generate ideas, and also to help others, to inspire others really with your ideas, because only 30% of population have a defined head. So only 30% of people really have consistent stream of ideas and thoughts and inspirations. For 70%, they have to borrow them. And unless you are kind of in your highest energy, in your highest potential, in your highest frequency, you can be sometimes almost like, sending out the signal, sending out the energies to the others, where they get all muddled up around you because you've got that, energy literally coming out of your head. But in its highest expression, it's all about inspiring others. It's all about, generating these beautiful ideas and sharing them with others. So then when we look also at the sides here, you've got a black, numbers in black and numbers in red. So these are your planets. These are the planets where they were at the moment of your birth. The numbers in black, they represent your kind of personality. This is something you do consciously. This is who you think you are. This is something you're really aware of. And the numbers in red, this is your design. This is who you truly are. So often there is a conundrum, so if you think like numbers in black, it's your conscious mind. This is something you do really consciously, while this red ones, this is something you do very subconsciously. And normally there is a wrestle between the two. So for example, in your charts, you may have like a logic, like an energy of strong logic running through you, but then also an energy of intuition, like something I have. And there is a conundrum. It's like, so am I going to make a logical or intuitive decisions? And sometimes there's a clash between the two. And this is where human design really, when you live according to your design, it helps you to find a balance between your conscious and your subconscious, and to bring you into that state of alignment. And this is something I think we spoke earlier about, how you can go and meditate and you feel all zen and all calm and all relaxed and beautiful. And then you step into the real life and then something triggers you, or somebody, or you don't make sales, so you don't bring customers, and then you kind of go into pieces. So you need to go back into meditation, but it feels like there's two parts of you and there's nothing gluing them together. So by aligning those two parts together, this is how you find that balance. And that's how all these pieces then within you start clicking into alignments, because the whole work really must start from within, as we know that as within, once you fix your inner world, then the outer world will start shifting to adjust and mirror your inner world. So yeah, so basically black, this is who you think you are, things you do consciously. Red is who you truly are, things that you do more.
So when I look at those numbers, 4.5, 43.
Yeah, I'll explain now. So there are different planets here. There is a sun. So sun is really, this is your soul purpose. Okay. So this is what you are here in this life to master. And this is actually those four numbers here. When you see this sun in black, sun in red, earth in black, and earth in red, that actually your incarnation cross. Incarnation cross is like, it's your life purpose. It's the purpose of this particular life, the one that you're living right now. But it doesn't really just hop up and come on its own. It only, you kind of evolve into it. When you live according to your design, when you are aligned, when you find that harmony between who you think you are and who you truly are, then you kind of evolve into your purpose. And that's when your incarnation cross comes out. So the really important energies to pay here, this is this sun, because this is your soul curriculum. Okay, and then your earth is something, the energy, that's what actually makes you feel grounded and supported, because in order for you to really live this, live out your purpose, you have to have something in place first. So this is what you need to have in place first before you can live out your purpose. And these numbers, these are the gates. So you can see there is some kind of lines here. Now, when you have a fully defined line between two centers, that's called a channel. When you only have a half, that's called a hanging gate. So what this actually are is that they send energy from one center to another. So for example, you've got a solar plexus here and you've got a root center. So you can see you've got a consistent energy between those two. And then you also have a hanging gate. So that means that this hanging gate just hangs in there. It's not really active. And you need somebody opposite to really activate it within you. So like gates of, so depending really on which gates you look at, they will play major themes in your life. But when we do like a life purpose reading, soul purpose, etc., what I normally look at the most is this, your sun, because that gives us an idea of your soul purpose. The earth is really important because this is what makes you feel grounded and supported. And another thing I always look at is the moon, the energy in the moon, because this is what really drives you forward. That's what motivates you and gives you this like, yes, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. So different planets really represent different, aspects, of your, your traits of your life. So there is a spiritual purpose, how you communicate, the lessons you are here to master, which is the Saturn and the Jupiter. Those are the kind of blessings you receive once you have mastered those lessons. So all of these are really important energies to look at, but this is kind of step 2. You see, because first we need to understand and really go through your design so you can understand really what does it actually mean to be a certain energy type? What does it mean to live your strategy? What does it mean to have an authority? And that's what we're going to jump into now. So I just wanted to give you a brief introduction with all the numbers and lines and all of the colors that you see. So you understand when I say there is the gates or there is this undefined center. So you're beginning to understand that.
Got it. So those numbers doesn't mean when one is way off, those two sides, black and red, it has nothing to do connecting, right?
So, for example, in the sun, let's say if you look at the sun, so gates, this is going to be the gate 43 over here. So this is your soul purpose. Your soul purpose, if you think about, there's a life purpose. This is like a train. That's your life purpose. And your soul purpose hops in. At a certain stop, it rides out a part and then it hops out. So that's when you're born and that's when you die, right? Mm-hmm. And this is what the number 43 would represent. And number 4, this is like your whole theme of your life story. So when you start living according to your design, when you really start following, deconditioning, applying it in your life, not just understanding this information, this is when you begin to live out your soul purpose. But as I said, this is like a next step. For now, it's more important for you to understand what does it mean to be a generator? What does it actually mean? How do you make decisions? How do you even live in strategy and authority? So, and the numbers, here, this is something, as I said, comes a lot later. So in human design, there are 5 energy types. And every energy type really was all about how we send out energy, how we shop in life, how we make decisions, and how we navigate through life that we don't have to wrestle with it so much. So things become more effortless, so we're more in a flow of life. And every type has their own way to use the energy in a correct way. And what happens often when we try to live as a different energy type, we get frustrated or bitter or disappointed and burnout. And that's been pretty much, that happens over and over again because people don't really understand how to live according to the energy type, or they do, but then the conditioning gets in the way and they kind of like flip out completely and they just follow their mind, follow the logic, and they completely forget about their bodies. So your energy type is a generator, which is the most common type. I'm also a generator. And we make up about 70% of population. So the way I know you're a generator is because you have this red square defined. So this red square is your sacral center. This is the center of of life force, the energy. So it gives you the consistent energy, consistent supply to go and do things, to go work, to go take action. But the thing is, with other types, apart from manifesting generator, they don't have this consistent energy. So they almost rely on generators to borrow that energy from them. But with the generators, we can do any work. We can pretty much push through anything. But the important thing really for a generator to understand that even though we can do work, any work, we're not really designed to do any work. We're designed to do work that we are passionate about. And it doesn't need to be our main job. It can be something like a project on a side, like if you're okay with your job, but you find that passion within you to do some other project, or to get like a side job, or to get involved in some charity work, whatever it is that lights you up. And the reason for that is because, unlike other energy types, we cultivated energy within us. And unless you find the joy, unless you find the passion, whatever it is that, gets your body kind of excited, gets your heart pumping, you cannot recharge your energy. And if you can't recharge your energy, even the generator can burn out. I did it 3 times this year. I burnt out. And another thing really important for generators is to understand their strategy. So every single type has their strategy, and the generator's strategy is to respond to life. So as generators, we are deeply conditioned. I believe everybody is deeply conditioned to make things happen, to go take action, to bend things to our will, to go and initiate, to go reach out to this person, that person, create this event. And that's not how we actually meant to use our energy. It's not sustainable for us. For us, it's responding. It's responding to everything. We respond constantly to life, to opportunities, to people around us. And of course, knowing whether or not that response is correct. So for example, you might want to launch a new t-shirt. And instead of you going contacting the suppliers, you go and doing the research, reaching out to your clients, you have this idea and you feel like, that feels really good. Because for us, it's all about that feeling, like that feeling you get in your stomach when you feel so excited. But instead of going and initiating the whole project, you wait for something to respond. Maybe it's one of your clients that he will say, hey, have you thought about this kind of a t-shirt? Or maybe you will see something, let's say in an advert, like on a TV, somebody who's wearing the design you were thinking about. And this is something then you respond to. So you take an action after you've responded, rather than going and then doing the whole thing on your own, initiating. And when you think about then traditional marketing, and that's why I think a lot of people burn out, and generators probably the biggest people to quit their business. They're known for that, because for generators, first of all, mastery comes over time. So it's not something they just start and they get good at, and that's it. They're not like manifestors, for example, who can initiate multiple things, they jump from one thing to go to the next, they're multi-passionate. For generators, it's like a mastery of a lifetime. And usually you will do like one piece of work or your business probably over a long period of time, because you have to become masterful in order to really, really get success that we desire, whatever that success means to us. And what happens then for generators is we kind of learn in those stages, we evolve rather in the stages. So you get like a growth spur, I guess. You might be like go crazy, like everybody buys this t-shirt and you do so well, and then you're stuck. And it's like crickets, and there's like nothing happening. And you sit on this plateau and you sit and you wait to respond to something, and this is where, because for generators, when the not self theme for generator is frustration. And when we get frustrated, we can quit. We can just, nothing's freaking working. I knew it's not going to work. And it's like, you're done, But this is almost like a sign of the next level of mastery. And then when you sit there and you wait to respond to your next right opportunity for you, and you actually push through that plateau, then something bigger and something greater will even come up. And while you're waiting to respond, like initially my thing was like, but I don't want to sit and do nothing. And actually you don't sit and do nothing. In the meantime, what you do is you find everything you possibly can without involving others, without initiating, to go and activated energy within you, to go do yoga, to go for a run, to go build a website, to go, you know, like do things that do not require initiating and approaching and starting new things. So it's like great times then to refine your funnels, you know, or great time to get creative, maybe think about the new designs, but just not launching anything and not kind of, you know, creating these conversations with the new potential buyers. And then when you sit and you wait enough, the opportunity will come. And that's the biggest, I think, challenge that can happen for us, is to wait for that right next opportunity. And I know from personal experience, from doing this work long enough, that when you do wait to respond, it always comes. And it comes from the places you just never, ever expected before. And every time that happens, you get into greater alignment with your body, and something else within you shifts, and something else within you clips. And you're like, go, this is, you know, this is the part that I need to master. This is the bit I need to let go. This is where I have to open up more to receiving. And it's just like everything just begins to align and adjust. Not to say you'll never have frustration again, you probably will, but the more you practice, the better you get. And the more you begin to understand by looking back at everything that has been happening, it's like, yes, this stuff is real. You know, the more I almost like lean back, it's like this whole purpose really of human design is to lean back into the story of your life and realize there will be challenges, there will be that wrestling, but the more you lean back and you let go, the more opportunities really will come your way. And the more you wrestle with it, and the more you try to control, the more resistance you create. And then, you know, it's like you try to like pour a water, and there's like a kink in a hose, or like into like a little narrow vessel, and the water is just not gonna get in. And this is when the opportunity tries to come in, but we're so contracted that it just cannot get into us. So yes, for generators, it's important to really mastery over time and wait to respond. Now, what happens with the generators, as I mentioned, they've got that sacral center. And for the sacral center, I think actually generators have it the easiest in a way, because for them, it's all about listening to that sacral center. And the sacral always talks to us. And it always communicates and sounds as, well, And it's so easy. You can even ask yourself like a question, do I want to do this? And your sacral will go, well, And you can even practice, you know, if you've got to make a decision and you don't know what to do, you can get like your friends or your son or your daughter, ask you yes or no questions, and generators respond the best to yes or no. Like open-ended questions is for all the other types by generators. For us, it's a yes or no question. So when you, let's say, want to do something, a project you create, or even go buy a shirt or go for lunch, it's like, do I want to do this? And your sacral will let you know. It will go, or And then the work really then happens is that following that pull, rather than your mind goes, I don't have time, but how am I going to afford this? How am I going to do this? And letting you talk you out of this sacral natural response, because that's your intuition. That's the pull that always guiding you forward on the right path. And the more you trust it, the more you follow it, the more, I guess, magic will evolve around you, you know. But the more you let your head get on a way and talk you out of your excitement, out of whatever it is that you want to do, the more disconnected you really get from the sacral. So this is really important thing for generators, and it's specific to generators. Other types have it harder, I think. For us, it's like this pull, and if you don't know, you just ask yourself yes or no question. And of course, sometimes, you know, it can, misfire. Maybe you got it wrong, but it's like, it's just trusting yourself more and more and more, because it's like, you know, I mean, you love going to the gym, right? You understand when you go to the gym, you're not going to get like 6-pack straight away. It's like it builds over time. So, right. So generator, your strategy is to wait to respond, never to initiate, because that's only for manifestors. And now I want to talk about authority. So authority in human design, this is your inner knowingness. This is like your intuition and the way you make decisions that are correct for you. Because when you think about it, when we often make decisions, we try to come up with the answers from our minds. And our minds, they cannot stretch us to things we've never done before. I mean, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, you know, he talks about very similar thing. It's like, we create this future from predictable results and the past memories we've had. And it's fine if you're like trying to decide, you know, like a small thing, but when you really want to make that quantum leap, when you want to scale your business, when you want to activate and attract your new level clients, when you don't know where to find them, your mind is like gonna have no clue how to do that. Okay, and you can get stuck in the looping, literally inside your head, and you'll be looping over and over and over until you get like this overthinking burnout. So this is basically, that's the outer authority decision making. But now we are moving towards more inner authority decision making, and every person will have the way they make decisions that are natural to them. So for you, you have an emotional authority. So in emotional authority, in the way I see it, is because you've got a solar plexus defined. An emotional authority, for you, there is no clarity in and now. Okay, so if I say to you, Tatiana, do you want to go see Tony Robbins? Like right now, we've got to pay 10 grand. You'd be like, and I wouldn't even put you on a spot, because when I look at your design, I'm like, you know what? Go and get about 70-80% clear. There's never clarity. There's about 70-80% clarity. And then ask your sacral, does it feel expansive? Does it feel good for me? What does my body say? Never mind what your mind says, right? What does my body want to go see Tony Robbins? Yes, let's go. Okay. But you still need to kind of maybe sleep on it, you know, rather than being pushed into it straight away. And then once you slept in it and you feel that excitement in your sacral, like it's almost this like warm, fuzzy feeling you feel in your body. And it like was, yeah, Tony would be so good for me right now. Then it's not the question, where am I going to get 10 grand from? It's like, I'm going to go, and then the house will line up for me. And this is all about the trusting your authority. Whereas for someone else, for example, like I don't have a solar plexus, so my authority is sacral. So if someone said to me, Lena, you have 5 minutes to go put down the 10 grand deposit to go see Tony, for me, decision is in and out. Like literally, I would know, there's no emotion for me, and my body would always know. Of course, once, you know, you kind of get out of your head, because your head will always try to control you until you kind of have mastered that connection completely. Okay, so that's the difference. So for you as an emotional authority, you almost have to ride that wave. It's an emotional wave you're having. And the wave can be excitement, it can be anger, sadness, but no matter what it is, you have to wait to kind of come out on the other side of the wave. And once it's over, once you're like, I have about 70% clear, it feels amazing, I'm going to do it. Or I'm 70% clear, no, it's not for me, then you don't do it. You see, but decision then kind of happens still in and out. It's not like a month wait for you kind of thing.
Okay, so in practicality, let's say some idea comes in, my biggest hesitation is, where did the idea come from? Is it from ego? And it might be dead end, or is it my, you know, purpose, or truly inspiration? And I go back and forth. No, you are dreaming. Yes, this is real. Go for it. And sometimes I stay and I don't know which one is it. Am I hallucinating having this idea and it's stupid? Or is it real, God really, or supposed the universe wants me to do it?
Well, how do you feel? How does your body feel when you get that? You know, do you feel like, my God, that's so exciting, I can't wait to create this thing? Or do you like, it's going to be a bit of a hard work?
Well, it depends. Like, for example, last 1 month, I have this inspiration creating another account on Instagram and having completely like away from t-shirts, but basically connecting my own experience from communism, but not bashing, but mentally explaining what does it do you, like they said, no believe in God. So like, why they didn't let you believe in God? Because they were afraid the power you would gain with your independence and the freedom and dream. So I'm doing like this specially account with talking deeply what exactly. It's not like having on the, like Marxism, Leninism looks beautiful on the paper. The problem when you add human being equation to it, every human being can be corrupted. Everyone. Like if I'm in the post and I have power, of course I would give my family privilege. Of course, I would be my friends. It's just the way we are created. So basically, this communism, it's never gonna work. Not because I'm bashing it, but slowly explain this. And it goes like, well, you can, then it goes, well, you are gonna hurt yourself. What are you gonna do? So it goes back and forth, but then there are moments when like world needs this, and then like that's stupid. And it goes back and forth, like who, like, so whose idea it is, it should be or shouldn't?
Well, first of all, because you've got a consistent energy in your head, it's not like you're not picking up anybody ideas. So let's say if you had an open head, that you could really need kind of to feel into it, because that's when you really pick up energies, ideas, beliefs of the others, and you amplify them and you think they are your own. You're not in danger of that at all. You are in danger of a massive overthinking. It's literally like you're looping over and over and over. And because there is a disconnect between your head and your sacral. And that's why for that exercise, that could be really practical, good use for you, is to have that yes or no session. So even get your daughter, write her like 5 questions, and you don't even say yes or no. You go, and she'll ask you fast, and your first thing is like and your body, and you practice and you practice and you practice, and that's how you will know whether or not it's right for you. So it's literally it's a practice, you know. And once again, if you get this idea to create an Instagram account and you don't know, you're an emotional center, don't go straight away and start doing that. Go for a walk, you know, feel into it. And then when you still like, if you still don't know, get your daughter to ask the questions. Maybe it's going to be then it doesn't mean no or yes, it just means not now. But if she will ask you the questions, let's say a day after you got this idea, and you like, hell, it feels so good, yes, go and do that. See, but you need to respond to something, and if she asks you the question, you'll be responding to her. And that will also get you out of your head. But there is a deconditioning, of course, work that needs to be done, because this is the biggest thing, and this is the thing that's slowing us down. This is the thing that's tripping us up. And this is, remember, the reality we're seeing outside, our clients, the sales, the business, is just a representation. It's a mirror of what's happening within us. So within us, we're not sure, we're not fully aligned, we doubt our self-worth, we don't have a strong sense of direction, we don't know where we're going, we're not really completely aligned with our purpose. It's all going to reflect on the outer worlds. And our clients, they're already all there, they're already in our energy fields. And the only reason we don't see them physically, because we're not an energetic match to them. And how do you become an energetic match? Lifting up your vibration, lifting up your energy, deconditioning, discerning, letting go, breaking the patterns that no longer serve you. And this is the beauty of the stool, because that's what it helps you with. Okay. So let me just jump into the last little bit, which is, I believe, when it comes to business and it comes to marketing, and that's what I normally focus on a lot, that's the profile. And I'll just briefly explain to you what it is. We are the same profile, and profile is basically the costume that we kind of wear in this lifetime. It's how we make decisions, it's how we communicate, which is really important, and how we express ourselves, and also how we learn. You know, like maybe through your life, you had experiences where people is like, why do you have to do the same thing over and over? Or why do you have to, like, you know, why don't you just go read up on it? Or why don't you learn from mistakes of others? And you're like, no, I need to do this. I need to fiddle with it. I need to experiment. And then if it doesn't work, I'll maybe make little adjustments. Some people may be like literally buried in books. They need so much research information in order for them to really make a decision. Others, they need to like lock themselves in the room somewhere for like 3 weeks at least, you know, before like really able to communicate. So we learn and we express ourselves in a very different way. And that's what profiles here tell you, how you are here to naturally express and communicate. Because from that, even communication in your messaging and your marketing with your clients, that will change everything. So your profile is 3-5, and it's basically derived from these numbers. You see that little number 3 and that little number 5. So you've got the same profile as me. There are 12 profiles. And I believe, honestly, this is the most challenging profile, not because I am also that, but because it is really a challenging profile in a way, right? It depends how you see it. But for us, actually, the name of this profile is a martyr heretic. So, or heretic martyr, other way around, heretic martyr. So it's a line 3 in your conscious. We always experiment. Imagine like with your t-shirt design, you get this t-shirt, you do this, you put it out. Oh, it doesn't work. I'm going to tweak it a bit. Doesn't work. Maybe with your message, it's like you be constantly tweaking. And then, yes, I think that works. And then once it works, then there's a line 5, that's the line of a leader. This is somebody who's there to stand up and say, guys, I found something that works. Yay, hooray. But we have to embody that first. We have to not just understand it, but we've got to get through, it's like literal through our beingness. We've got to integrate it within us before we completely believe in it with our heart and our soul, before we align with it. And that's when we share with the others. And this is where the others then see us as this role model. But then there is a lot of, I guess, projection can come, because we want to share so much with them that the others can almost like come to us with their expectation, their hopes and their dreams. So it's really important for us to like then to have boundaries. As a 3-5 profile, boundaries are really important. And we've got to be really, really clear on the message, because if there is a bit of misconception, a little bit miscommunication, people then don't really completely understand what is it that we are sharing with them. And once again, they will come to us with their projections, them wanting us to help them with a, you know, with a issues and troubles and etc. And then it's just, yeah, it's just going to be a bit of a chaos. So as a line 3, it's normal for you to experiment. You almost think, oh my God, it's never going to work. You know, it's never going to work. I'm never going to do it. And then yet you pick it up and you do it over and over and over again. And that's why the whole, then the generator thing, it's like a mastery over time, except for us, it's not just mastery by learning about it, it's by actually doing things, you know, and not just doing just for the sake of being busy and doing, but doing in a very aligned way, in a way that we are feeling lit up. And that's another thing, you know, how many times you sit down to write the post or to write your funnel or a message sequence, you're like, I just have to do it because I haven't showed up for like 3 or 4 days. My client's going to forget me. And that's not the energy. From that energy, you see, the energy of generator is very magnetizing. It's like very attractive. So you naturally, especially as a line 3-5, we naturally pull people in. It's a very, very strong energy of this heretic and a martyr and a generator who's there, you know, to build things, to make things happen. But when we start pushing, when we get disconnected from that sacral, when we only do things because we think we have to do them, that's the ego kicking in. That's the control, that's the attachment. And that's when the aura around us collapses. And when it collapses, the opposite happens. We begin to repel. And that's why then nothing will shift in the business. No matter how many freaking hours you work, nothing will change. And that's a really important piece to understand, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to recap briefly. Okay, your type is a generator, meaning you do have consistent energy to work. And it's fine, you can work, but the work really, there needs to be a whole new really definition of what work truly means. It's all about you finding the joy, tapping into your sacral, trusting that pull, saying more yes to yourself, you know, when it comes to investing in yourself, when it comes to pampering yourself, more kind of, you know, have like almost this like day of pleasure, you know, when you just do whatever it is that your body wants to do. If it wants to stay in bed. Like follow the body, follow the pull as much as you can. Your strategy is to respond, not to initiate. So while you're waiting to respond, you can get frustrated, but then your only job there is to focus on sustaining that energy, cultivating that energy within you. Your decision is not in a now, unlike mine, which I'm like just typical sacral being. Your decision, you need to sleep into it, you need to feel into it. Maybe not too long, you will never be 100% sure, but when you're 70, 80% sure, then you ask yourself, is this the good thing for me? See, I mean, you will know how you feel. You know when something makes you feel so excited and expansive, you know, and that's when you've got to cut your head off. Your head is amazing. It's very strong, a lot of energies, you'll probably always be overthinking, always be over this, but don't try to find decisions from your head. Decisions come from your authority, which is your emotional authority and the sacral. So once you over that emotion, this is when your sacral comes in. The house will always work out if you follow that, if you trust that pull. And as a 3-5 profile, for you, it's all about tweaking and experimenting and finding what truly works for you by aligning, by integrating, by embodying that before then sharing it with the others. Okay. Just going to stop recording.